Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and I think I was a little too late. Game hunting is tough around this time of year because this is usually the time where everyone is officially out of school and you're competing with everyone. You're competing with not only the adults that are game hunting, but you're also dealing with the high schoolers, the junior high schoolers. I mean, everybody's pretty much running around trying to see what games they can pick up. And whenever there are flea markets, yard sales, things of that nature, if you have, unless you like clear your schedule, you're probably going to be the last to snag stuff up. Or at least let me speak for myself. I am going to be the last to grab those things up. And so, it's just really important that I take advantage. Like, I have to strategize, right? Like, my schedule. Like, if I'm going to be in a certain part of town, I try to see if there's any like game hunting I can sneak in while I'm there taking care of an errand. And this week I had some moderate success. It's GameStop's buy two get one promotion that is back. And also I had a little bit of success at a thrift store. So I'm going to share the thrift store success with you guys, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of these buy two get one pickups. So first off, walked into my thrift store, and for 80 bucks I got, minus these little fingerprint smudges that I put on here, but got a really good condition PlayStation 2 Slim. Had the controllers and all the hookups. The controller itself is actually in great condition, and it looked like no one, like whoever had it, really didn't play it much. So for 80 bucks, got the PlayStation 2 Slim, all the hookups, and 4 games. So I'll show you the games that I got. All of them are complete in box, in pretty good shape. Spider-Man Greatest Hits, nothing to, to run home screaming about. Very common game. All good though, because Spider-Man is actually a really good game on the PlayStation 2. I have it on the GameCube, so this will probably go in my trade bucket. Then you have Escape from Monkey Island. Don't think I'm going to keep this one either. I initially thought that I might, but I think this is more of like novel, like story-driven type of game. And I'm not really super into that. So this one will probably go into the trade bucket as well. But the 2 games I do plan on keeping are going to be Rampage Total Destruction. Really good copy of Rampage Total Destruction, so I was glad to be able to add that into the collection, as well as True Crime Streets of LA. Also complete, so that is going to be added into the collection. So some moderate success at the thrift store. Like I said, nothing to really scream home about, but got some decent games nonetheless, and 2 that are going to be added into the trade box, and then these 2 going into the collection. So was definitely stoked to find these 2. And tonight I'm going to have to put I have so much sorting that I have to put all of these games away, so a little bit of sorting to do. So now let's talk about the buy 2 get 1. So I did have some GameStop purchases earlier in the week. And so I actually decided to do a return and rebuy them so that I could get one of them free. I was like, this only makes sense. I might as well take advantage. So I'll let you know which games were a part of the return rebuy as I go through the games. Also, secondly, I don't normally purchase disc-only games. That's not really like my thing. But I may make an exception depending on the game and if it's a buy 2 get 1 promo. So 2 of the games that I was able to pick up were disc-only. So we'll talk about that as well. So let's start off with the disc-only games. since everything else is either going to be a cartridge-based game or it's complete in box. So the two loose disc games that I wound up picking up during the promo were this copy of Rad, so Robot Alchemic Drive. This is a very, very cool game on the PlayStation 2 where you have to use multiple buttons to actually just control this large robot. And then like there's parts where you play as like just like a human, and it's like the human can fly actually. Like I played a little bit of the game, didn't get too deep into it, but it's a very just interesting game. It's one of those unique PlayStation 2 games. Just every time I think about just the innovation of that era, I'm just always blown away by how well they just tampered with different ideas during the 6th generation. So got a copy of Rad for the PlayStation 2, got a copy of Def Jam Fight for New York on the GameCube. I feel like I have a case for this somewhere, or either that or I saw like a listing for a really cheap case for this. So I'm hanging on to this because I don't have it for the GameCube. And what I realized when I was actually playing it is that the GameCube version loads a lot faster than the PlayStation 2 version for whatever reason. It just loads faster. And it's actually a little bit clearer actually on the GameCube. So all that being said, I did get these two loose disc games. Also, because I needed to get a free game of close to equal value, I picked up Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on the GameCube as well. So these were the three loose disc games that I snagged during the promo. The discs are in good condition, so that's the good part. But these are the only loose disc games that I got in the promo so far. Now we'll take a look at the rest of the games that I picked up. So first we have Shin Megami Tensei 4 on the 3DS. This is complete. Was glad to actually find this. I'm not a super huge fan of the Shin Megami like franchise. I've had a few of the games in the past. I'm not like a huge like heavily story driven RPG type of guy, but I did need to get another game to make the buy two get one make sense. So this was one that they had there. I went ahead and snagged this up for the 3DS. I still collect for my 3DS, so I was glad to find that. You have Ready to Rumble Boxing 2. So this is a game I actually had purchased earlier in the week and decided to return it and do a return rebuy to take advantage of the promo. Went ahead and snagged this up, Ready to Rumble Boxing 2 on the Dreamcast. Again, complete in box, so I was glad to find that. And then also Nano Assault. So I got this copy of Nano Assault because I needed a condition upgrade. I already have a copy of Nano Assault, but my copy was a little janky. So this was actually a condition upgrade for me. Was glad to add this on the 3DS. This is like a 3DS shoot 'em up. Definitely cool. Check it out if you've never heard of it. Nano Assault is a really cool one. Then we have another return rebuy here. This is Contra Alien Wars on the Game Boy. So this was one of the better pickups. I was glad to find this one. Pretty much plays just like Contra Alien Wars on the Super Nintendo, just with Game Boy graphics. So really cool find there. Then you have Godzilla on the Game Boy Color. Another pretty cool find. Can't wait to try this one out. Really interested to see how I enjoy that. Then we had a bunch of Super Nintendo finds. So we have Killer Instinct, and all these Super Nintendo games for the most part in really good condition, with the exception of the next one that I'm going to show you. But we have Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo. We have Donkey Kong Country 3, Maximum Carnage, and Donkey Kong Country 2. So got 4 pretty cool Super Nintendo games here during this promo. Was glad to add these 2 for sure. Been wanting to get all 3 Donkey Kong Country games on the Super Nintendo in my collection. I already had Donkey Kong Country, the first one, so glad to have all 3 of these finally in the collection. And I think that does it for the cartridge-based games. We had some PSP stuff. So this is the last return rebuy. This was Midnight Club LA Remix on the PSP. A very cool racing game, man. Played some of this, very cool. It has like this whole bullet time effect that you can use to like weave in and out of traffic. Like you can slow things down. If you have a head-on collision, it just automatically slows everything down. It's just really cool game. Was glad to get this one on the PSP. Then another PSP pickup here, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. All the PSP games are complete in box and in really good condition too. So this was another one that I was glad to snag. And then we have Dissidia on the PSP. This was one that I had in my collection a long time ago, and I sold this out of my PSP collection. Was pretty stoked to get this one back. So some decent PSP pickups for sure. Was glad about that. Then we have some GameCube stuff here. So, oh, sorry, I lied. So this was the last actual return rebuy. So Pikmin 2 on the GameCube was a solid pickup there. We have Resident Evil 4, another solid GameCube pickup. Teen Titans on the GameCube, that was a solid pickup. And then Mario Kart Double Dash as well. So some solid GameCube pickups. And then last but not least, I've always kind of toyed with the idea of getting this game. Never really quite got around to picking it up. It's one that I've seen on shelves like many times in the past, but I've never really went and got it because, like, for me, I just, I'd seen it online. I saw that I could get it for a much better price than than GameStop had been offering it for, but because it was a promotion and it was complete, I went ahead and snagged it. But that's Shamu's Deep Sea Adventure on the GameCube. So was kind of glad to find this on the GameCube. I've seen it on the PlayStation 2 a bunch of times, but this was the first time I really seen it in person for the GameCube. So I went ahead and picked that up as well. And then last but not least, you have probably one of the better pickups in my opinion, Evil Dead on the PlayStation 2. Not one I've ever seen at a GameStop before. I don't think I've ever seen a copy of Evil Dead. So that was a really cool find to find in store as well. So, I mean, cleaned up. I didn't get anything like super groundbreaking in terms of like, any rare titles. Usually I save all my like high dollar pickups for the buy two get one, but there really wasn't a lot available for me in that regard. I would say probably the better, more exclusive games were definitely the Contra, Maximum Carnage for sure. Nano Assault was definitely a cool find. Ready to Rumble too, man. Definitely a cool find. It's hard to find complete in-box Dreamcast games at GameStop, so whenever you can find that, it's always a plus. And then, Rad as well. Robot Alchemic Drive was definitely a clean pickup. And I already have a copy of Def Jam Fight for New York on the PlayStation 2, so I wasn't too like blown away by that. But just some of these other titles, especially Ready to Rumble Boxing 2, was a really cool find. So try to make the most of it. I would say if you haven't been able to attack your retro GameStop up to this point, it's probably over. All of your GameStops have probably already been ravaged. People have probably gone through, picked them clean. Yeah, especially if you live in an area with resellers, which there are a ton of resellers around me. So they typically come in and clean up. Me, I try to just build my collection using these promos. So if I find something that I can use for a future trade deal, or if I know someone in my area who might be looking for a game and maybe they have a game that I'm looking for, I'll pick that game up knowing that I'll be able to make the trade in the future. So I just try to be savvy as much as I can wherever I can, but it is getting tough. And I know they're going to run this promotion pretty much all week. So, I mean, continue to check your stores out. I think now is also a really good time to stock up on Switch games because you can really get some great deals on some pre-owned Switch games. And especially with the Switch 2 kind of being looked at as just like a better way to play Switch 1 games, you might be able to kind of capitalize there. So let me know if you guys have had any success at all this weekend, and I may do a live tonight. I may actually get some live gameplay in. It's been a while since I've played any Super Nintendo games, so maybe we'll do some beat 'em ups. We'll see. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.